They're guys. They do magic. They are the Magic Guys.
I want to do that too. Hang on. Here we go. Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 231, yes, of the Magic Guys. I'm Josh Norbito, and I'm in a hotel room today. More of that to come, but to my left, we've got the megastar who is Nick K.
That's right, folks. Josh has been evicted for putting horses in his lounge room all the time while he watches The View. Guys, I'm Nick K. Thanks for coming to the show. We have an exciting guest today, but before we fire up, we've also got some friends here in the comments. Let's give them a shout out, Josh.
Oh yeah, On the Box, that's a new one. On the Box, thank you for being here on the screen today. We got Adonis, Gary Davis, Thomas Conger, StreamYard. Oh no, that's just the company. And so Doug isn't on this episode, but there's a reason why, and we're going to tell you at the end of this episode, because you are going to see Doug on the pod today, but not this pod. But more to come about that. I'm super excited about this. We met this gentleman at Magic Life in person, but Nick, you know, you've been doing a bit of deep diving.
Correct, because I was actually really looking forward to meeting this gentleman that we have on our show today. And so all the folks in the chat today, don't be afraid to put your questions in there, because whilst we're there, anyone knows who has been to Magic Live, it is a convention of constant interruptions. And what that means is you'll be chatting to a friend, and then somebody will walk up and be like, "Hi, Josh Norbito, I love your content," and just interrupt your conversation. And that's very much what it was like trying to meet this gentleman here. But I said, please come on our podcast so we can chat and get to know you, because our guest today, friends, is a magician and storyteller. He's performed on Penn Teller's Fool Us as well as live performances all across the country, notably the Knack Theater. So please join me in welcoming Mr. John Michael Hinton.
Woo!
John Michael,
welcome
to the show. Buddy, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to ask you questions. But before we do, please tell our friends, who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, my name's John Michael Hinton. I'm a magician. I'm a speaker, storyteller, and also a redhead. That's I think that's
what a
bio.
show off. What a show off.
It's just a wig, guys. So if you want to borrow it sometime.
He's the Jessica Rabbit of the magic realm. He is super sexy for those listening on the pod. And if you want to see it in person, you can scope out the episode on YouTube.
Yeah,
so
but
John,
basically,
again,
like, your hair is like the same height as your head is. Like, from chin to head is the same distance of head to
which brings me to my first question. The first question is, John, what is your height on your license, and what is it including the hair?
And where do you and Colin Cloud get your wax from?
Every single time I see Colin and Shin or anybody like that at Magic Live or whatever, we're always taking another hair picture. Like, literally. It's funny you talk about my hair. I actually had a client, he's booked me, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. And on the 5th time when he booked me, he said, "Are you allowed to change your hairstyle?" And I said, "I don't know." Like, so many people know me because of the stupid hair.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that if there was a Mount Rushmore of like awesome hair, it would have John Michael Hinton, Rudy Kobe. Who else?
Colin Cloud.
Colin Cloud for sure.
You get Shin Lim. Shin Lim's got some crazy hair.
Carrot top.
Carrot top, 100%. On the box. That's really funny that he just said, you have to put up on the box. He's either upside down or he used the vacuum as a comb. I actually put my head upside down to blow dry it. You got half of how it happened.
Is this another Dennis Kim illusion? Because we had Dennis Kim on and he did the whole episode through a mirror looking at us, and we didn't know till the end. And so are you actually secretly upside down this whole time just so that
it's just like the SNL thing that Penn Teller did forever ago. Yeah, so if I make stuff float, it'll float right out of the screen.
So things dropping is the impressive part.
Yes.
Yeah. So, John, it's my understanding that you got into magic at the ripe age of 4 years old. Tell our friends what actually sparked your interest at that age.
Yeah, it wasn't magic that got me wanting, honestly. It was just every single stage I've ever seen, I wanted to be on. And magic, if I'm honest, was the Halloween costume that I put on to get free candy. Um, it was, I think what Steve Martin said, if you can't sing or act or dance, you do magic. Um, so, I
That's
mean, I
good
could
advice.
hopefully maybe do a little more, but so can he. But literally, my dad was a hobbyist. He still is a hobbyist. If you are under the age of 8, man, he's gonna blow your mind. Because, or honestly, if you're just on an elevator with him, he might pull a sponge ball out of your suit lapel. Like, that's him. And so I was kind of born into. I was like, sure, I can do that and be on stage. Let's go. So he started teaching me at 4, and then I actually got a passion for magic. So yeah.
What's most unique about your style is that you do, and you do this exceptionally, it's the storytelling. Now, there's very few people that actually do storytelling alongside magic in such a beautiful way. And what made you sort of go that realm as opposed to being like the crazy, flashy type magician and actually doing things that have a little more meaning?
Yeah. I think art should come out of the artist. Often magicians are not artists. We're often people who got some cool gimmick that we want to show some other people. I'm not saying that that's not fun. That could be performance art, whatever. But honestly, Penn and Teller really inspired me. Even though our faiths are completely opposite, I love Jesus. They obviously don't. Um, the way they preach atheism and what they believe so beautifully made me go, man, if they can preach what they believe so beautifully through an art form, shouldn't I? And shouldn't I want to share what I believe? Then I'm not just talking about my faith. I'm talking about all these different things that I believe. Honestly, one of the big things in my whole show is I ask everybody to be my friend, and then I give them the sticker that says "John is my friend." Which,
Right.
let's be honest, a 40-something-year-old dude asking a bunch of people to be friends and then giving him stickers is it's either creepy or weird or really cool. Hopefully, it ends up being cool, but that all came out of a big thing of me getting tired of insult comics. I think there's a place for it. People like to insult and make fun of their people, but it's just not me. And I hate it when I go to a show and people are like, "Hey, that'll teach you to sit in the front row." Uh, no, everybody that comes on my stage is my friend. Everybody that's hanging out with me is a friend. So yeah, everything that I believe it should be an extension of an artist. So therefore, you start storytelling. Another person, if you want to look up, who's doing amazing at this is Taylor Hughes. Like the way he's able to tell stories through stuff is just incredible. So yeah, that's my goal. Because I think at the end of the day, what separates me from other magicians is we all have the same tricks. Like I can create my own stuff, but eventually somebody's going to see it, they're going to copy it, they're going to figure out something new. The John Michael Hinton experience, no one else can do. The Mario experience, Mario the Maker, you could build robots, and you're not going to be Mario the Maker. So how can you, as an artist, share? And
That's it.
there you go, storytelling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if magic can become just the tool you're using in that particular instance, but it is you that they're coming to see, then therefore it's replaceable. Irreplaceable, sorry. Not replaceable yet. We can't clone each other that easily, but that's fascinating.
Yeah. And I totally agree with what you're saying there. And again, we actually had Taylor Hughes on the show some while ago, back in episode 157, for those who want to scope it out after this.
And Mario as well.
And Mario as well, indeed. Yeah. And it's really interesting because there's certain tools that you use in order to tell these sort of stories. And it seems like your brand of magic is often with everyday objects. Now, how does one do that?
Well, luckily for us, I think that magic is in the golden age of close-up magic. Like, yeah, we still have a few people doing the illusions, big illusions. But for me, honestly, I had the whole parlor show. My dad had all of the cheesy birthday party tricks that all of us have and have left in our drawers, hopefully. But I moved away to college, and I lived literally a 4-hour plane flight away. I only could take what was in my suitcases, so I brought decks of cards and I brought coins and Rubik's cubes. So all of those were stripped away from me. And in college, is like, if I'm going to do something, It better be interesting with a deck of cards. It better be interesting with coins. And so when technology got to the point where it is now with live video feeds, like I always perform with a live video feed now, so that I can use anything and everything that people at home have. It's not a fancy box with a dragon painted on it that was apparently really cool in the 70s and 80s. I don't understand, but I mean, good on them. But it's like, I bet if I own that box, I could do that. Amazing. Go to a Magic convention, you'll find out. Yeah, honestly, I think growing out of that and going, man, okay, what do I have? Okay, I have this. And now, honestly, I've tried to put classical stuff into my show. Like once I wanted to do something with a magic wand, and my wife literally went, nope, not allowed. And I went, what? She's like, you could use a Sharpie, you could use a pencil. I don't care. Don't you use the magic wand? That's not you. So yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
Your wife is an absolute superstar. Like with the direction she and everybody just needs to watch your full act in order to appreciate her most definitely.
The very end.
Yep. But before we get to that, I want to talk about this video feed because it's the type of thing that people are kind of utilizing it rather poorly or not doing it the right way. Like, could you share your knowledge that you have with regards to like doing it wirelessly, or do you prefer to have a camera plugged in? What camera do you suggest?
Yeah. Oh man, there's been so many different ways that I have experimented, and also, I mean, Trig Watson, he knows way more stuff than I do. Chris Funk, also a very, very giving guy. If you ever meet Chris Funk, so nice, and he's helped me out a lot. But honestly, the guy that I learned the most from, who is my magic mentor, life mentor, and honestly now best friend. I'll talk about him later in the show, Danny Ray. He kind of pioneered the way for me. And I have played around with a bunch of different things. Now I always have a wired camera. I can do the wireless. I can even do my phone through QLabs. You can use your phone and you can do it through QLabs. I love QLabs. It's what I use for all of my video stuff. And then I use something completely different for my audio, because when I ran my audio through QLabs and my video through QLabs, even though I had a really powerful computer, things got weird. And so now I literally use a separate Audio Ape. I don't know. Are you guys sponsored by any of these people?
No. Yeah, but we're working on it. So plug them up.
Exactly. So yeah, I use Audio Ape for all my audio stuff, QLabs. And then I'll always use a wired camera, because then every time I've used a wireless camera, oh yeah, this is great. I was just at a big convention that had, it's not a magic convention. It was just a big conference, 7,000 people. And they were like, well, we're thinking about using this wired camera. I'm like, do you guys remember last time you had me and we used that wireless camera? And they said, oh yeah, they got digitized. I said, is it hard to run a wire? And they went, no, we got the cable. I was like, let's just run the cable. Let's run the cable. As far as cameras go, I am not a fan of GoPros. I know Trig uses them. I know a lot of people use them, and that's fine. I don't like their shot quality. It's okay to me. It's good. It's not what I would want. So I use a prosumer camera. Just honestly, if it's good prosumer. Personally, I like a full HDMI out. And then also, big thing is always a handheld. This is a thing that Danny and I both discovered. The small little bit of movement that your cameraman is going to have, it's going to add so much life. If you have a stagnant on a tripod video camera, unless it's a conference or a big crowd of 1,500 or more, people lose interest. And even with those, like when I had 7,000 people, I still had my cameraman on stage, because that little bit of a movement, it makes it feel like a reality show. It makes it feel like they're on stage, where if it's a stagnant shot, I'm watching TV. And so I've literally, as soon as I get that movement in the camera, I have people leaning in, and people have come up to me afterwards. Man, I felt like I was on stage. I felt like I was there. I was right there with you. Yes, because of the movement. As soon as you have that stagnant shot, same thing's true. Josh, you're going to know this. I'm sure you can speak to this on Instagram videos. You have a stagnant shot, it's not as interesting as movement.
100%. And you're the second person in a few weeks to mention this too. We had John Armstrong on, and he mentioned as well, always have an actual, when you can, a cameraman actually operating it. And that's so true. They're in the show, and if it's a locked off shot, they're watching TV. That's so interesting. But I'm okay. Be real with us. Obviously, any form of magic, any effect that we do, right, can go wrong and will go wrong at some point. And the same is true with tech. So I'm curious. People are hearing this and like, yes, great, I can do my close-up magic in a stage show. But obviously, there has to be times where that doesn't work, right? Because the client has stuffed up the connection, or you're still learning it, or power issues, whatever. How often does it happen where you have to switch to your B show where you like can do stuff without a screen? Is that a thing, or do you like, you know what I'm saying?
I actually was talking to Trig Watson about this at Magic Live, because he's like, yeah, my entire show is tech, and it either works or it doesn't, but it's worth it when it works. Trig and I are in different camps, because to me it has to work. Usually if I have a plugged in camera, it's going to work. And I will go to crazy. I will get rid of, like, QLabs was great. I love running it through QLabs, but as soon as you run through QLabs, you have other problems. So if it's having any problems in tech rehearsal, I will unplug it from QLabs and plug it directly into their system.
Okay.
Because I'd rather have that than having any cool anything else up there on there. So, but yeah, things go wrong. My camera will lose its battery. All of a sudden it says battery, and you're like, oh. So I always have a second battery on my camera person, and I show them beforehand, because sometimes, usually for my bigger stuff, it's somebody that I know. Sometimes I have to train the person. It also, maybe it's just in the type of my show. I have ADHD. I don't know if you can tell that yet, but yeah, which is it's a character in my show. Like, I talk about it. I'm like, who else has ADHD and didn't take their Adderall? Hey, I can tell. Okay, here we go. I've had people say, and actually I'm trying to work it into a trick right now. Oh, when the camera went out in your show, I thought it was part of the act. And I was like, oh, I was dying inside, but I'm glad it made it real. It was cool. And then you got it back. We all cheered and it was awesome. I have that already sort of feel in my show. That's just, who knows what could happen. So I think I can roll with it, but also I'm doing everything I can to make sure. I have cut a couple shows, but like, there are certain tricks that I know go well. I do Blake Voigt's Vanishing Stools. I know I can do that without cameras. That's in my second show. You have 2 shows if you do cruise ship or anything like that. You have to have 2 45-minute shows. Yeah, there are certain ones that I know I can do. I do a really big shuffleboard that ends really big. If nobody sees the cards on the table, I've done this in front of 500 plus people, shuffleboard on a table with cards, and it played because of the ending. Because the ending had nothing to do with the cards; it had everything to do with the people reacting. And when they react huge on stage, everything's good. So I always have had that. But like, one of the tricks I open with, and I open every time because I love my camera, is I open with Matrix art, where you move the holes around. You could never do that on a stage show. I do that. I just did it in front of 7,000 people. And I'm like right here with the camera as if I'm on an Instagram. And I'm moving the holes around, and they are flipping out. They're losing their minds. And then I give away the card at the end, with, which also, because I have such a tight shot, for 2 seconds. And here you go. Here's the card. I don't know who's watching this. I don't know if muggles are watching this, or if it's just magicians.
They're not watching. They're not watching.
Who cares?
But we understand. Yeah.
They're one of us.
There's a moment of time delay from camera screen because of the close-up shot. So what I'm hearing from anyone sort of taking this in to consider is, you will start with what you want regarding tech in your show, and if there's any glitches, you will just downgrade to a more basic tech. And like you said, you could even go from your phone if you had to at a pinch. So you will still use tech, but you'll just change to a more basic version, and then if it cuts out during the show, you have set routines that can work without it. So you've got a bit of running strip for them to fix, change the battery or whatever before you have to bring it home. Okay, I love this.
Well, what I love about this is that we've been talking about how the magic is done and how to do it. But I think one of the things I was sort of curious about is why it's done. Because in your show, you kind of say in a previous YouTube video, you say this. You say a magic show is just an excuse so that you can share the message you matter. Could you tell us a little bit more about what that underlying mission is?
Yeah. Again, it comes back to this sticker of John is my friend. I when I growing up, as so many creatives, I grew up in Saudi Arabia, 1st through 8th grade. Um, if you are watching this on YouTube and you're seeing my red hair, my blue eyes, and very, very pale skin, or reddish skin because I have no other pigment, you know that not too many people look like me over there in Saudi Arabia. I was bullied so hard. 1st through 8th grade, it was. I mean, I have major stories in my show. I talk about how there was a war in 3rd grade in the middle of Saudi Arabia going on, and I had a bomb land within a mile of my house. I was in a drive-by terrorist shooting, and I carried a gas mask to school every day. And yet, that's not why I was scared to go to school. It was because of my peers and what they were going to tell me and make fun of me for. And I would literally beg my mom not to send me to school because of that. And so, if I can be a friend to somebody, like even if it's simple as, hey, come to my show, be my friend. And it's amazing how much we all need to hear that. I was at Keller's a year ago. I was doing this thing, and just I loved that I had these couple of girls that were very much like sorority party girls. Came up to me like almost with tears in their eyes, just like, thank you so much for telling this. I had this older these 2 beautiful queens. They came up to me, and they were these guys were just like, man, you don't know what this means to us growing up and the struggles we've had. And then I had some other people that were very Midwestern. I could tell who they voted for. I don't know if that you guys are not exactly from there, but they also were there. And if I can tell all these different people through doing some stupid magic trick that they matter and that they are on this earth for a purpose, like, what? That's so much better. Like, hopefully we can let them laugh too, because that's also very purposeful, is laughing and being amazed and everything like that. But man, I could talk about this forever. I feel like I'm dominating the conversation.
No,
Sorry,
that's the whole point, man. That's the whole point.
It's an interview, not a conversation per se.
Yeah,
but if we can talk about off the back of that, which I feel kind of leads into it, we spoke very early about like your faith. It would be interesting to have a discussion about how your faith and creativity intersect in your work. And how does that come through in your performances? Could you share a little about that?
Yeah, I love Jesus. I actually, if you look into my stuff, you find out I was a pastor for a while, and here's the thing about faith and Jesus. Actually, right after I graduated college with a degree, planning to be a pastor, my dad said, John, what if you mix the message and the magic? Like, what? I mean, like Andre Cole and people like that. And I said, no, that's so cheesy. Because often whenever you force a message into art, or you force art into a message, everything is either cheesy or horrible, and because it feels forced. I mean, if you pick up, and I don't want to be mean to any of my my magicians who are trying to sell this crap, maybe that you shouldn't buy it. But yeah, you can say it. But gospel magic is either gospel or magic.
Right. Do you guys remember that viral video of the head chopper, the gospel head chopper video?
No.
I'm going to find it after this, and I'll put it in the Discord. But this guy has like a very expensive head chopper illusion, and basically says, if you believe, your head won't get chopped off, basically. And these carrots are sinners, and they're through the little holes as the examples, and they get sliced. I'll find the video. Anyway,
That's
is just
way
a
better than the
foreshadowing.
Tree of Hearts or the King of Hearts or the Three of... No, but it's always been cheesy, and so it bothered me, right? What I do, I mean, I talk about, I'm not scared to talk about my faith. I talk about my faith all the time. But also, I'm going to have incredible magic. I'm going to have incredible comedy. I'm going to have incredible stuff. And when I talk about my message, I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to be real. I don't need to say, just like this stupid magic prop represents this. Honestly, it reminds me of when we say, I have these 4 jacks. We're going to let them be robbers, and I'm going to put them on top of the deck. And then these people came on, and You have 4 jacks. Just say, watch, I'm going to take the jacks, put them in the deck. If I snap, they come back to the top. Way cooler than some stupid robber story that has been recycled over and over and over again. Same thing's true with me. And again, my inspiration, I don't know if they would love that I was inspired to do the opposite of them, or maybe they would be. I haven't had this conversation with Penn Teller, but they talk about atheism so beautifully. Darren Brown talks about his story so beautifully. And it's you can sort of weave it, but mostly I feel like my audience is smart enough that if I do something that talks about I have something be somebody's phone number. Never been done in Magic, but have something winds up with somebody's phone number, and then I say, by the way, this wasn't a mistake. Your phone number was supposed to be here, just like you're not a mistake. You're supposed to be here, and now I can talk about how they matter. I don't need to connect the dots, or if I do, then it's not going to make sense to them anywhere. So like either they connect the dots, they don't connect the dots. Now we're on this. But talking about how do you do that? I actually have a buddy, Eric Casey, which if you're at all in Magic, you should know Eric Casey, Poker Test 2.0. He just released the Princess Test. He's one of my best friends in Magic. But he said, John, my theory on this is the Scrubs theory. He made this idea. Do you guys remember the TV show The Scrubs?
Yeah.
Did you guys ever watch that?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you ever watch Scrubs, they will be the most hilarious, irreverent, crazy, out there humor. But at the end, there's like this deep point to it. And he said, I think if you are crazy, 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 then you can swing the other way. And kind of wherever you're willing to go on one side is the same place you're able to go up on the other side. But if you're kind of a chill guy that's kind of in the middle the whole time, you probably can't go that deep in your message. But if you watch my show, I mean, things are exploding. I'm going nuts. It's like I said, if the camera goes out, people think it's part of the show. That's how crazy my show is. And so I'm way up here. So when I swing and be like, hey, if you have thought about killing yourself, I just want you to know that there are people here that they care. Like I can go there, which that sounds a little weird. I'll let you see it in my show. But my wife was like, the first time she saw me go that, she was like, what? Did you just go from crazy, crazy, crazy to don't kill yourself? Yeah.
Because imagine if somebody who's just chill the whole time goes, and your card is on top. By the way, if anyone wants to kill themselves in this moment, don't. Like it would not play to any sort of effect. That's amazing.
Yeah,
there you
really
go. The Scrubs effect.
Yeah, but it's just amazing where creativity comes from. Like he's referencing a TV show, and it's so true. Like with being able to swing between the polar opposites, you know what I mean? And that's why it's good to have this dynamic character in a sense. You know, like I was creating something recently where like I've always wanted to do a Q&A effect, but it's just not my bag, personality wise. You know, and so. I was really hung up on this particular song where the lyrics go, where do wishes go when they're tossed in the well? It's like, where do wishes go when they're tossed in the well? Are they screaming for help? And I think I should finally go and fish them all out and claim them all for myself. And I loved that phrase. And I thought to myself, like, well, how about we do a Q&A where it's like, I just said the premise, where do wishes go when they're tossed in the well? And then you take out an envelope and you get your vibes and you not point anybody out, but there's just a little moment of saying like, I think this person's wish is this, and my advice to you is that. And that means, I think, and that for me is a way better way to do a Q&A or to have a connection with an audience member than to be like, this is a question, this is an answer. It's like, now what's your wish? What is your wish? And why not go chase your wish? You know, like why not go chase your dream? I think that is the thing, you know, and you can sort of tie it in with the whole inspiration of that song and deliver a very beautiful piece of art.
Well, and also that came out of you because you were inspired by that, right? Like that's the thing. Yeah. We have to do something that comes out of your character. And when I say character, most people, I think magicians often, especially young magicians, get confused with the word character because we think that, oh, so I'm putting on something. Oh, okay, it's like a character in a play. No, it's not because you're playing yourself. Unless you're Lucy Darling, which that's a whole different conversation. Most of us aren't. We are trying to be ourselves and be more of ourselves. And I don't think Andre Cole, by the way, I just saw whoever said I used to, I don't think Andre Cole forced anything. Sorry, I wasn't trying to put him in that. I was trying to put the King of Hearts. Different. Love Andre. Hung out with Andre. I saw you, Will. Sorry. I didn't want to address that because I saw that. What was I saying? But it comes out of you. It comes out of who you are. And like, if I think something is fun, it's great. But also, then on your same thing, I loved punk and ska music growing up, and I was classically trained, like a opera or musical theater. And I either had to ruin my voice to sing ska or punk, or realize that it's just something I like to listen to. Mentalism for me, when I see it done correctly, I kind of have to just listen to it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I do mental magic. I can't do mentalism. I can't pull off the constipated face.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, playing your character doesn't mean you're pretending. It just means you know what your character can and can't do on stage, and the limitations and the vibe and the messaging and where it's coming from. And
Now,
yeah.
off the back of the creativity, I know that your book, Imaginate, is based all about creativity. Now, I was very regretful that I wasn't able to get a copy of it to read it before this interview so I could ask better questions about it. Would you kindly just tell us what the book is about with regards to creativity?
Yeah, it has nothing to do with magic. So if you're like, he has a magic book? No, I don't. Maybe someday, but I'm definitely more of a performer than a creator. When it comes to that, I create hopefully through storytelling and the experience. No, it's about that. I mean, if we're jumping in my faith for 2 seconds, and this isn't trying to offend anybody, just this is who I am, is that I think that God, if you read the Bible and the first thing that God tells us about himself in the Bible is it says, in the beginning, God, which is a plural of the noun. It literally means the Godhead. It means plural gods, not in the sense of Roman or Greek mythology, but in Christendom. And the second thing it says is created. So it literally says that in the beginning, there was this collaboration that creates. That's the first thing that the God of the Bible wants us to know about himself, is that he is a collaborative unit that creates stuff. And then what was one of the first commands? He said, well, man can't be alone, because if they're going to be like us, they have to be collaborative. So then man and woman. And what does he tell them to do? He tells them to to procreate. like that's one of the first things, which hallelujah for all that ensues. But also, literally, it's let's go create and let's go do and let's be creative. And so it's all about, man, how were you created? And I think that all of us were created with a purpose to create beautiful things in this world, to bless other people, to show love to other people. And if we can do that, I mean, man, I'm not going to stand here and because I know as soon as you say Jesus, people get scared, people get weird. But I think a lot of Christians haven't acted very Christ-like, and that's why we have such a bad rap. We haven't ever, but I think if we truly believe in this God who wants us to create and to love him and love others, then we should be some of the most creative people and follow. The closer we are to God in Christ, the better creators we should be, especially creating incredible love and joy and excitement in this world. Some of the best art was commissioned by the church back in the day. I mean, sit in the Sistine Chapel. Actually, here's a random story for you. This is what inspired the whole book. My wife and I took a trip to the Sistine Chapel. It was just me and her. We got in early, which, by the way, if you're going to go to Rome, get you can pay a little extra and you can be one of the VIP early people. So instead of being in the Sistine Chapel with like however 700 to 1,000, however many people are there, it's you're in there with 50 other people. So like we got in there at the very beginning. We woke up way too early. It was amazing. And so my wife and I are sitting there, and I don't know if you realize this, but on the Sistine Chapel, it's the depiction, the ceiling is a depiction of the 7 days of creation. And so we're studying all this. We're listening to a audio guide that's talking about all the different things and how Michelangelo painted it and all this other stuff. And then my wife leaned over to me after 2 hours. I'm not exaggerating. 2 hours of us staring up and our necks are hurting. And she said 5 words that changed how I view God, how I view creation, how I view everything. And she said, it must have been fun. And I said, what? What do you mean it must have been?
Wow.
Didn't you hear how he was drawing it? And she said, no, God, when he created the world, it must have been fun for him. And I went, well, I'd always pictured God as this stoic, white, bearded dude being like, let there be light. Let there be this. Let there be. What if when he said, let there be light, he created all of the all of the colors of light. Like
That's awesome.
light has all the colors that we could see through a prism. And he said that, and all the angels were like, whoa, God, that was awesome. He's like, right, that's so cool. Look at that. Like, as if, like how we get excited about the creative process, that sometimes we even fall in love with more of the creative process as magicians, and we have to step back and make the trick actually make sense. I think when he was like, ooh, let me create flowers. And then the angels were like, do you see that flower? Yeah, no one will ever see it. It's going to be in a dense rainforest. What? It's just for me and you. It's fine. Right? Like, that's the creative process. And if I'm creating out of that, like, my magic has to be creative. My performance has to be creative. Everything has to be creative. So,
buddy, I love that. That's such a great story. Thank you for sharing that. I love that, like, in 1,000 ways. That's so great. The other thing that I really want you to share, because we had a little chat beforehand, and we have a couple of Christian folk that actually follow Christian magicians who follow our thing. You were on the set of the Chosen, and
yes,
there was a very interesting story on how they went about hiring the particular people who perform and produce the show. And I think it's a way too cool a story to not share. Could you please reiterate what we spoke about before the show?
Yeah. A lot of Christian art over the years is cheesy. And I'm not trying to put anything down. I think there's been some great art put. And even I said something earlier that somebody in the chat was like, and I was like, I don't want to, I'm not trying to step on any toes. And the people that we get to stand on their shoulders, we should never look down on them, right? Like, they were doing the best they could with the materials they had. But something I do love, and I have friends that they know a lot about the Chosen because, I've worked with them. I work for them. Not the Chosen people, but the people that are connected. It's hard to explain. But what they said was different is that the Chosen, they want to hire the best people to tell the story. That doesn't mean the best Christian people. Often when we get in the realm of faith and art, we only want to have people that are only believe what we believe. And as soon as we do that, we stop the creative process. We stop this. So the Chosen, like, there are some people. I mean, I'm actually watching. If you want something about faith and art, Jonathan and Jesus. It's on Prime. It's like all about the guy who plays Jesus. It's a 4-part miniseries documentary that is fascinating in how he is dealing with being an artist, an actor, but also playing a deity, and people are getting confused with the deity, but also he like is struggling with all of it. It's very. I was just watched it, but they just said, we want to tell the best story possible. One of their main art people is a Jew who doesn't believe in Jesus, but he finds Jesus story so fascinating. He's like, well, yes, this is the story that needs to be told. A lot of the disciples, the apostles on that show, don't have a faith. I mean, some of them actually have found a faith through the show because they heard it. But what's interesting about that is when they're hearing Jesus say these words, they haven't read them in the Bible, so they're hearing them for the first time, like the apostles would have heard them for the first time when Jesus walked on earth and heard them. So it's really, they want to show the best light possible. The people, the creators, the writers, they have a faith and they're sharing it. But then they're saying, how best can we tell this story, this epic story of this person that we love so much? And they don't have to have all agree on exactly this piece of theology and this piece of theology and this piece. They agree on, we want to tell Jesus' story the best way possible, which is true of whatever story we're trying to tell in film, in live performance, or whatever. We should want to tell, if it's epic enough that we want to tell this story, we should tell it as best we can with the best tools we have. So, yeah. In fact, they've even I know the Chosen have gotten in some trouble over the years with some very conservative people who have been like, whoa, I can't believe they'd hire that type of person. They were the best at it. So we are going to give them that role.
Yeah, that's an amazing creative choice, man. Like, to actually get folks who have no faith in order to do that, because that's a pretty decent depiction when you think about it, right? So that's amazing.
Yeah.
So one thing that I'm super curious about is the Fool Us performances. Now, of course, you had 2 attempts at it. The second one you crushed. Congratulations to you, buddy. Nobody saw that ending coming. Like, honestly.
Let's go.
Can I just say, if you need, go see it if you haven't already. It is unbelievable and just absolutely genius. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, the first one, first time I got on, it was for Rubik's Cube stuff because Rubik's Cube stuff was just finally breaking that we could do more than just the Fooler Dueler cube, enchanted cube. Josh knows way more about cube stuff than I do. I think watching you do so much. I'm such a fan of you, by the way. You're killing it with all your stuff.
I'm such a fan of you. Stop it. No, I remember, like, dude, my intro to you was watching a Henry Harris tutorial and then seeing you pop up to, I think it is the effect you did on Fool Us, right? Or at least
Stickerless.
And I was like, the first time I saw that, I was like, oh my God, there's something else you can do with a cube that's not solving it. This is crazy. And then I think you saying it, please don't perform this. I'm just showing you something creative. And
I said, please perform it, but not on TV.
Oh, that's what you said.
Because I didn't want it to be, honestly, I wanted it to be when you perform it, that it's amazing and no one's seen it. Outside of my Fool Us, I've worked hard, honestly, to not, I released it for free. I didn't get one dime off releasing one of the only 2 effects that I've ever created. I've created 3, but 2 effects I've released and I was like, I don't care about making money. I just want to put something out good that hopefully don't put it on TV, don't put it in videos so that we can show this amazing. The only other person that's made a video of it that I'd let do it is Rune out of, if I say the wrong place, he's going to hate me. I can't. Rune, if you're seeing this, I love you. Where's Rune from? Rune Carlson.
From, I just saw a thing of his pop up the other day.
Anyway, if you say yes, if you say the country next to it, he like makes fun of those people, and his wife's from there. So like it's a whole thing. Sorry.
Right.
But worked hard. So when I did that, what's interesting was really hard for me because they didn't know how the stickers got on the cube, but they didn't feel fooled. And I was like, but the trick was that the stickers got on the cube, and they're like, yeah, we didn't feel fooled, and we know how we saw the switches. Of course you saw the switches. The switches were horrible. The switches, literally, we made them so bad that you don't see them on TV because they weren't interesting enough to leave in the TV edit. If you want to edit yourself out on TV, this isn't, I don't think it's cheating because people can rewind on stuff, and that might get me in trouble in the chat. But literally, we made it so boring that they cut it out of the TV mix. So when I was going back, I was working with Brent Braun, which if you know anything about TV, and Brent Braun is the #1 consultant, also a good friend. And when I went to him, I was like, I want to do something else on Fool Us. I want another chance. And he's like, John, I don't care about fooling them. And I was like, right. Because Brent cares about having an amazing TV spot, having an amazing thing that you put out into the world. And we'll also try to fool them. But first and foremost, I'm like, yes. He said, so what's your idea? And I said, well, I want to kill a rubber ducky on national television and have everyone be excited about it. By the way, this came out of, I don't know how much time you have on your podcast, but this came out of, not David Stone. Man, I have too many, French magician. Yeah, David Stone. David Stone, JB Damas had this idea that he wanted to put a gun to a puppy's head on France Got Talent and say, if I can't find your card, I'm going to shoot the puppy. Which he did on France Got Talent, and it's a bang gun, and it comes out and the silk falls down, and it has the guy's card. He didn't actually point a real gun. It was but I thought American audiences not ready for that. So I was like, rubber ducky, we'll do that. We'll cut the head off a rubber ducky. And so I thought, okay, that would be hilarious. Let's do this. And then Brent said, why? And I said, I don't know. It's because something's inside of it. He's like, okay, so we have an impossible location. How are we doing it? And I'm like, I don't know. That's just my idea, which, by the way, I think is a better place to start, because often we'll have this cool method and we end with a trick. We have to start with what's interesting, what's the effect. And so we started there. Okay, it's going to be a borrowed ring. All right. Well, and Brent said, well, the only way to really fool them is to use a secret assistant. But as soon as you use a table that does not look like one of their tables, Teller leans over to Penn and says, they're using a secret assistant. Like, anytime you use any my table looks, no, it doesn't. It's not one of their tables. They know what their tables look like. They've seen how many magicians come on this show.
Right.
Secret assistant. And Brent said, we actually dropped the idea. It wasn't going to happen. We started working on something else. At 3 a.m., he said, yeah, man, I still like the idea of cutting the head off a rubber ducky. but yeah, like I said, unless you set that table on fire or you drown it, and that's how we came up with it.
Wow, because Adonis is asking here, was the end of the method actually like legit, or was it a pseudo method?
Oh, 100%. That was the method. That's 80% of the method. We're keeping 20% of it to ourselves, which I've told a few close friends. I'm not going to say publicly, but it was literally my wife, which if originally it was going to be Brent Braun. He was too tall for the tub because the bigger tub, it was obvious. And so I told my wife, like, would you be willing to do it? And she said, don't even ask me. That is no. So in February, she starts training. Because she literally came to me. She came back. She was like, "It'd be a better story if it was me." I'm like, "It would, but I can't." Like, and she actually told me. She said, "If I'm training to do this, you're training to do this. So I can do the same thing she did for 40 minutes, so that she was willing to do it." We went through so many methods so that she could stay underwater for that long. The crazy thing is, at the end of the day, if you actually watch, you pause, you could see it's a snorkel with a duck on the end of it. I'll tell you that much, which Teller thought was the most hilarious thing. He's like, no, of course you hit a snorkel with a duck on the end of it. This is brilliant. Like if you know anything about Teller afterwards, he gets more excited about the method.
Yeah.
And so but the thing is, when you're snorkeling, your face is always down. And so if there's any water in the goggles, they pull on the front. If you're on your back, like she had to be, the water sits in your eyes, like straight on your eyes. So we had super tight goggles because the big thing mask didn't work. We had a nose plug, and she breathed through it because we tried compressed air. We tried all these different ideas, but breathing natural air is the easiest. You don't have to worry if the tube works. Going back to technology, that what if all of a sudden you have all these bubbles? Why are there bubbles in the tank? Oh, they're the secret assistant. So she's literally breathing through a tube. She catches the ring. She opens the box, shoves it into the duck. Then when I put the net in there, she puts it in the net. And the 20% is how did we get I'll tell you the original method. First, there was an idea of a change bag that opened so she could only grab the one duck. That went weird. It never felt right. Then there was one that we would make it so that all the ducks, when we went like this, if you haven't seen it, we make it so that they say, go ahead and start. That's way too many ducks. Start flinging some out. And so she's mixing the ducks. Ducks are flying everywhere. She gets down to about half or 40% of the ducks she originally had. And originally it was going to be all the ducks except for one, but that's pretty obvious that, okay, so that duck had a magnet in it because that's the only way. So how do you get down to, we had to keep one duck in play, but also we wanted other ducks. And literally 2 hours before we went live, Brent said, wow, oh, this is stupid. What if, and we said it, I said, oh, but then because of that, because if you listen, I ask Brooke, I say, do you see multiple numbers? And she says, yes. And I say, pick any number you want. And she says, okay, 15. And she picks up 15. People think that because of how it was edited that we changed it. No, that was put on a shelf. It was full view of the audience, full view of Penn Teller. One dirty thing I did do was I tried to send them on the wrong path by reaching behind to grab the net, because that's when I would have ditched the ring and put it into the box, which that would have been a red herring and been against the rules if the ring was going to end up in the box on the shelf. It never ended up on the shelf. It was always in the duck. And so they said, yeah, that's fine, because you're sending them down a path, and that's the path they went. So when we opened up the box and it says the wrong name and it says kill ducky, they're going, wait, where was the duck? How did we get that duck? Now they're going back there and they're done.
Yeah.
So
now
there
you put
you go.
The spotlight on the shelf, perhaps.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, also, if you listen, I don't think Penn was convinced he was fooled. Because when they came up, I looked at Penn. I'm like, "Are you serious?" And he said, "Yeah. If you didn't palm it off and then switch out the duck, then yeah." And he's kind of mad until my wife pops up out of the tub, and then he's like, "Okay, that was awesome."
Yeah.
That
is a phenomenal level of creativity, man. It's so nice to be able to just jazz those ideas with the cohort, you know, like you're so fortunate to be on your side of the planet where you have all those people around you to do that. Do you consult with the same folks when you're doing things for like Good Morning America or stuff at the NAC Theater? Is it always a collaboration?
Yeah, I think collaboration is key, because I start falling in love with my own ideas. And I mean, Henry Harris, you don't have to even have it on your side of the planet. I talk to Henry about almost every effect, and he sends me stuff all the time about all of his effects. He's in Hong Kong. We're in different time zones. Usually, if I'm going to bed or I'm staying up way too late till like 2 a.m, he's like, "Oh, this is a great time to talk." I'm like, "Dude, I got to go to bed." Like, but oh, what about this? Or if I'm like, it's a good hour for me, he's like, "Okay, we'll try this and talk to me about it later. I'm going to bed." So like, even though we're on opposite sides of the planet, Brent Braun and I honestly, unless I go out to his place, it's really, or I see him in a magic commission, I'm usually just texting him. But then I have certain people that, yeah, we get on phone calls, and I think you have to find your people, but also sometimes you have to go outside of that. This year at Magic Live, I did something really cool and crazy. I told people, I brought a friend who wasn't a magician, and I took him around the dealer room, and I said, if you see anything that you think is cool, I don't care if I like it. I'm going to get it and try to figure out a way to put it in my show, because my show is not for other magicians to be like, wow, you're awesome. I mean, if they think that, that's an honor and everything, but it's truly for the lay audience. So, yeah. And it's hard to keep those people to be muggles, because as soon as they watch a lot of magic, they're no longer good resources, and I have to find new muggles.
Yeah.
So,
well, I feel like this is slowly leading in towards telling stories about actual performances and actual gigs. Josh, I think it's time for a gig story. You in?
Let's do it.
So gig stories is a section of the show we like to talk about moments of magic, whether we're performing or our day-to-day life, starting with a gig story from our guest, John Michael Hinton. You said you had a great story before the show. I'm dying to hear it. Fire away.
Okay. So 60% of what I do, my gigs are in churches, faith-based organizations, churches, Christian conferences. Next week, I'll be at a Christian conference all week long. This one, the pastors, it was a bunch of pastors and staff of a church, a big church in San Diego. I shouldn't have said where it was. If you can bleep out San Diego, please do. I'm not going to say the name of the church. But man, I can't believe I'm telling this on the air. So they had a thing before me that said, any staff member that wants to try to do a magic trick, we'll give you a gift card. So like, it's just, people are doing stupid tricks. One person, they were a good magician and they actually did a really good trick. Everybody else, stupid tricks, absolutely dumb, just to be stupid and be around. And then the last lady who was going to perform before me, she got up and she started telling her testimony. And it was a long testimony, and I mean, incredible testimony, but how she had been strung out on drugs, how she had tried to kill herself I do remember when I really cued into the story was that she said, when I took a whole bottle of vodka and a thing of pills and down the whole thing trying to kill myself. And I'm standing next to the senior pastor who looked at me, and we're both like, isn't she supposed to do a magic trick? Like, what? And then it got to the point that now she loves on people that are in these crisis pregnancy centers that she's just trying to show them love and trying to help them. They are pregnant, somehow they didn't expect it to or whatever, and they're in this thing, they're trying to decide what decisions they want to make, all this stuff, and she's just trying to love them. And she said, and that brings me to my magic coloring book. Where are we going from here, boys?
What?
She said, when I talk to the youth about STIs, sexually transmitted infections, I use my magic coloring book, because some infections are very colorful like this.
Oh my God.
But some infections, you can't see them coming very much. There's a few symptoms, but they're kind of like this, where they're black and white, and some are completely invisible. And that's my magic coloring book. And I followed that.
What a tough act to follow.
The pastor actually did a great job. He thanked her. Her testimony was incredible, but she was great. And he transitioned well. And now we have this guy doing a bunch of stupid magic tricks. Hi, everybody. Watch, this hole can move in a card.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Do you want to be my friend?
Yes, exactly.
Awesome.
By the way, that was really, really, really clever with the way, because you frame that you want everyone to be a friend. I thought it was really cool how you probably have the only intro of Allison from Fool Us saying, I want to introduce my new friend. And that's really cool too. That's a wild story, man. That's wild.
You know what that reminds me of? Like the segue. Do you remember that bit at Magic Live where Rick Merrill was emceeing, and he's like, what do you call those things? You kind of stand up on them and you hold it and you lean forward. They kind of take you around. What are they called, John?
Oh, segue.
Oh, speaking of segues, and then
Right. Sorry,
That's
I was
great.
like, are you telling the story? Am I supposed to answer?
yeah, it's like
All
that's
right,
how
you set me up and I let you
the
hang.
transition
I
was.
love it. Well, I got a really short gig story. I went and did a wedding event last weekend, and after the show I was hanging around, with the tables doing a bit of close up, and the son of the groom comes up to me and he's like, "Oh, I got a magic trick for you." And I'm like, "All right, do you want to use my cards? Like, you can use 21 cards. Like, what do you want?" He's like, "No, I've got zip ties." I'm like, "You have my attention." And he's like, "I'm going to tie you up, and then I'm going to link the two zip ties together, even though you're zipped up." And I'm like, "Okay, feels like you're just going to trick me and just tie me up and then run away." He's like, "No, no, 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 no." And I'm like, "No, I can't see how this is a trick." And he's like, "No, no, just let me." And it was his constant persistence for about 2 minutes of me saying no, him saying no, let me, that I was like, okay, maybe there is something to this. And the table of people around me, I'm like, "Is this a good idea?" And they're like, half are like no, half are like yeah. I'm like, all right, at least we're amongst friends. Like, if he ties me up and I'm like stuck, at least like I'm not getting mugged or something. So anyway, so he starts with them linked. Oh yeah, he said he's gonna be able to unlink them without my hands having to come out of it or whatever. So he links them together. He's like, "Put your hands through." I'm like, "Okay." I put my hands through. He zip ties them together. I can hardly move. And then the kid runs away, and it's hilarious. And everyone laughs, and it's very funny. And the magician is tied up, and that was it. And that was the first time that's ever happened to me. But luckily, like, he had thought about this, and he came back with wire cutters. Which, why the heck does a 13-year-old have wire cutters and zip ties? But he came back and cut my hands free, and then the game became how many other people can we convince to be zip tied up? And I pretended like he did the trick, so I actually now became his confidant. It was like, he did this crazy thing. You got to see this, and he would just zip tie up drunk family members. And
This was at a wedding.
this is at a wedding, yeah. And
He planned this. Why do you have wire cutters? Don't worry about it, Dad.
zip ties and wire cutters.
This sounds like the next trick at Magic Live, like Tobias's trick at Magic Live this year. I don't know if you saw that one.
Oh yeah, we should do that.
This year.
We should actually, we should genuinely do that. Like, we should genuinely tie
Like,
people
yeah.
up.
no, I'll link both of you, and then you just leave them there.
Absolutely.
That sounds like the perfect Magic. Let's do that next Magic Live.
100%. And Nick, you're always running into crazy circumstances. What's happened?
Okay, I had a good one. So I was performing on Sunday, actually, at one of my residencies. There was a kids' party, seven-year-old birthday party, and everyone was having their Minecraft cake. And I remember seeing this very same kid, because I'm kind of good at remembering names and whatever else. And he comes over to one of our staff members, and he's like, "Is there any nuts in the cake?" You know, it's like, like, it's just to make. I'm assuming this kid's anaphylactic. And I'm like, "Oh," he's like, "Nah." He's like, "You got to check with the mum. She brought the cake." And it's like, "There's no nuts. That's all good, right?" So anyway, all the kids are sitting down having cake. They're all nice and chill. And I'm like, "Okay, I'll go in there and show them some." I'm like, "Hey guys, blah, 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 do my intro. Like, you guys want to see magic?" So yeah. And I'm like, "Do you want to see stupid kid magic or awesome grown-up stuff?" Like, stupid kid stuff. I'm like, sick, So I'm doing like a simple coins across whatever else. And I'm doing my thing, and they're all like just bombarding me at this point. And little peanut kid comes and sits right next to me, right? And he's basically like over my shoulder. And I'm like, that's cool. So I get down on one knee so everyone can see better. They're all kids. I'm doing my thing, but then I just hear this like bang. And I look behind me, and it's old mate on his side, eyes rolled back, and he's doing one of these convulsing numbers. And I look down, and I'm like, what is this? And I don't know what it is about me, but I don't freak out in situations like this. I just don't. It's just not me. And so I'm like, oh, dang it. And I'm like, I just pop my head out. I'm like, guys, I'm going to need an adult. Come in, please. And I go to put him in recovery position. And he just springs back up again and goes, "Ha, gotcha." And I'm like, "Oh, you're okay?" He's like, yeah, I'm fine. And I'm like, "Oh, you were just joking around?" He's like, "Yeah. Did I get you?" And I said, "Bro, it wouldn't be the first time a kid fainted seeing my magic. You're okay? Yeah. All right, let's get back to it. Like, and I gave him nothing. I gave him nothing, and he was so disappointed because he does it. Apparently, he does it all the time. Because even the kids were just like, he does this all the time. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, because imagine how much that would actually freak people out. Like, imagine you're there to do a show for the kids while the parents have left, for example, different situation, and one kid does that. Someone could freak the F out in that moment.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And this is how I produce an EpiPen.
Yeah.
Next time, just get a really big syringe. Here we go. They'll stop.
Yeah.
How old is this kid?
7.
What a brilliant kid.
7.
Wow.
Yeah, right. I kind of adored him for that afterwards. And then afterwards, I just put him aside and I'm like, hey man, you fell pretty hard. Are you cool? He's like, yeah. I go, you sure? Like, do you need any ice? He goes, I'm all right. As long as you're okay, buddy. Like, I actually sat him down and was like, you okay? And then I was like, all right. And I gave him a little fist bump and I was like, all right, nice to meet you, kid. And like, I didn't get mad at him or nothing. Like, I just thought like, good hustle.
That kid's going places. Imagine you were able to make an EpiPen appear and then you commit to like freaking him out. Like, no, just in case, I know you're joking, but just in case it's not joking, I'm still going to stab you.
Imagine I screwed up and I took out my gaffed Sharpie and I'm just stabbing him with X's and he's just got all these X spots all over him and supposed to be doing this one where I peel it off. Oh, well, guys, we've hit the 1 hour mark and we're about to wrap up. But before we do, I think it's important that we talk about what's next for you, John Michael Hinton. What's next? What's coming?
Yeah, most creative thing I've been working on, which doesn't make any sense to be working on because I have a great show. I don't say that lightly. Like, I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm awesome, but I have a great show. I have 2 great shows that I perform all over the place. But a buddy of mine, Danny Ray, I mentioned him earlier, and we were on a cruise ship together and we're like, wouldn't it be cool to do something together? And he said, yes, but I have a big thing. He said, often one really good magician plus another really good magician equals about half of a good magic show. Because often if you ever try to push 2 magicians, and if you've ever gone to the Magic Castle at the Peller, this often happens and it's kind of awkward. It's like, I'll be honest, I probably would have just enjoyed one of their shows more than them trying to push their stuff together and it being awkward. And we said, okay, so 1 + 1 has to equal 100 or we don't go forward. And honestly, the first thing we did was we just did a show kind of together, kind of a conglomerate, just to see, okay, first of all, does our chemistry work together? It did. And so now we're running a whole new show that literally it's not, oh, can we do this together? It's, no, this requires 2 people to do. This trick requires 2 people to do. This trick requires 2 people to do. And if we didn't have 2 people, it's not like, oh, I'm just letting you do this because no, this trick requires 2 people to do. And so, yeah, it's called Magic and Mayhem, the only magic show with a splash zone, which isn't true, but it's really good for marketing. And you're like, I have a splash zone. Yes, I know. Lots of other people do. And, but yeah, we're just doing, some of the stuff is just crazy. We're having things explode. We're having cards explode. We're having people throw ping pong balls at us. It's just a ton of fun. And it's the most creative thing that honestly, doing a show with your best friend sounds really fun. And it is. But when we're going to get paid, everything that I would have gotten paid is cut in half now. So again, this is not the best idea, but man, it's creative and it's fun. And if it takes off, we actually we're booked at 4 different places. We have 2 other people, 2 other venues currently talking to us. We're looking at a 3rd and 4th venue. Like, we're just trying to start something to do it. Like, it's very different probably than the cool shows like The Illusionists, where they went out and shopped and they know how to do it. And if they want to pick us up, somebody like that wants to pick us up once we have legs of this thing, sounds great, blow us up. But it's literally, we wanted to do something creative and fun, and we thought, man, this would be great. And I probably should be thinking about things like that I bought at Magic Live for my own show, but all I'm doing is thinking about things for this current show. So yeah.
How good. I look forward to seeing it somehow, some way, one day. Maybe
it's going to be at the Magic Castle in November. If anybody's going to be there, if you're in Southern California or Texas, or going on the Love Like You Mean It cruise, those are the 4 places we're booked right now. But
right,
yeah.
Amazing. All right, well, friends, we've hit the 1 hour mark and it is time to start wrapping up the show. But before we do, just a nice reminder that the Theatre of Magic is launching here in Melbourne as well. You can get your ticket from theatreofmagic.com. As well as that, there is also a convention kicking off in Sydney here. So you got the details for that one. We'll post that on our Discord. Anyone else who might want to come? Josh, any other news before we go to the final word?
Well, do you want to mention the reason Doug is not here?
Okay, so the reason our friend Doug is not here is because he's having an early night, and that's because he needs to get up very, very early in the morning to interview our next guest. So we'll be interviewing our next guest at 11 p.m. Melbourne time, 6 a.m. Vegas time.
So in 12 hours, in 12 hours from now, we're having an actual exciting second pod. But if you're listening to this on Spotify and iTunes, you'll see it pop up in a couple of days just to space things out, to let John's episode breathe and soak it all in. But stay tuned, 12 hours time. Shortly, you'll see it.
Are you teasing who that's going to be? Like, I want to know. I want to come. I want to listen.
You're
not teasing.
You'll see.
I can't wait.
Let's just say it's an amazing daredevil from the UK. We'll say that much.
And with that, we will jump to the final word.
Hey guys, thank you so much for letting me join you for this incredible podcast. Again, John Michael Hinton. If you want to follow me on Instagram, on YouTube, anything like that. I love answering people. So if you DM me, I will do the best I can to talk to you. So hopefully we can be friends. And it's been an honor being here. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for listening. It's time for us to disappear now. But we'll see you again on the next episode of The Magic Guys.